and gentlemen, we are live from different locations throughout the DMV, and this is the Neighborish live cast. I'm Super Dave, aka Mr. Incredible, and with me, as always, are two extremely dope individuals, personal trainer and fitness guru, our own personal feminine energy, the one
Good
and only
morning.
Miss
Good morning.
Fit. Patrice Jones is with us, and SE3 representative and DC's native
Hey,
son,
got
Jay
two
Son.
SE3 representatives though.
You said what?
Got two SE3 representatives today.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get to that, man. Hold up, hold up, hold
I'm
up.
just, I'm just happy.
I got to do an intro, but yeah, Jay Son is with us. What's up, sir?
Hey, what's up, brother?
And we got a great show for y'all today because our guest today is I'm a huge fan of this young lady. She's one of the most soulful singers I've ever. Like the first time I remember the first time I saw her perform. I believe it was at Bohemian Caverns. I'm not sure, but I just remember the emotion that she put into the song that she was singing. I think the whole crowd was just like with her 100%. I don't like to say just singer because what she does is so much more than that. But she is a singer, a songwriter, a mother, a motor of positivity, a practitioner of love and light. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Tamika Love Jones is with us, and we're so happy to have her in the building. Like Jay said, she's a member of the SC3 community, and welcome. Thank you so much for being our guest today.
Good morning. It's good to be here.
Definitely, definitely.
Be back with you.
So we got a lot to talk about. You do a lot of stuff, and we're going to talk about all of. We're going to get into your life and your musical journey and all of that. But first, there's a few things going on in the city, in the country, in the world that we need to talk about, and
What's
we're going
going
to
on,
talk
Dave?
about it. What'd you say, Jay?
What's going on, Dave?
It's a lot going on. First of all, what was it? Last Friday, you did a IG live
Oh, that
with
joint was
Native
lit.
Tongue. Yeah,
Yeah,
man. So you was
absolutely,
live from where you at right now, from the crib, right?
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You had
Uh,
a couple of dope artists come through, including our guest today, and did their thing. And then a couple of people over the live. How many people went over live, like performed over the live?
we had four live performances. We had viewers from Rwanda, Japan, all over the world, Australia. People was tuned in from all over the world, so
Wow,
that's a blessing, man.
that's
That so many
powerful.
people
Definitely.
rocking with Native Tongue and also Nubian Human to log in and party with us. It was a party too. We was lit.
Right. Yeah, yeah. I saw y'all was getting it in. Yeah, I could only watch up until after Tamika performed. I definitely wanted to see her do her thing, but I was at work, so I couldn't really stay the whole time. But how long
Yeah.
did y'all go? Like after that,
2 hours. Just we did the
the
regular
regular 2 hours.
open mic time frame, so from 8 to 10.
Oh, okay. And were you the feature? Because I came in like right after you was like the feature just went, so now we opened it up. Who was the feature?
Duff was the feature.
Oh, okay. Dang, I missed stuff. Oh,
Yeah, terrible
dang,
day.
stuff. Right, right. I feel bad now. I'm
At
sorry,
work
Duff.
making money for survival and stuff. What's wrong with you?
Right, right. Just trying to live and eat. Look at me trying to eat anyway. But I want to talk a little bit about the main thing that's on everybody's mind and hearts right now, the COVID-19, aka the coronavirus, is still raging. Basically, it's still out there. A lot of people aren't taking it as serious. The conversation that we were having briefly before we came on air was basically about a lot of the stuff that's going on out there that's showing that people aren't taking it seriously with announcements being made that there's going to be like a second wave and it's going to hit the African American community disproportionately hard. There's still a lot of people that aren't really heeding these warnings like they should. There's a lot of stuff that's been going on social
Hey,
media. I've
Dave,
seen posts. Did you
how
see?
how do they know? How do they know? How can they do projections with this?
That's a
How do
good
they?
question, and I'm wondering that. And so I'm wondering if it's something that's set up to happen. Like that's a whole nother conspiracy theory. But either way, it's definitely killing people. So you probably should take heed out. You know what I'm saying? So I
So
mean,
there are no more natural deaths in 2020. I guess that's a good thing. Nobody dies from natural causes anymore.
well, everybody. Well, actually, the COVID-19 exacerbates the natural causes. Like, cause you're not dying of COVID. It's like AIDS. You're not dying of the disease. You're dying of something else. Like that's why they say people with diabetes, people with different health conditions. it makes it harder for your immune system to fight it. So you wind up, it winds up, ravaging your body basically until you're out of here. So, but yeah, I saw a couple of posts. There was a young lady who did a live from a big party in Chicago, and people, it had to be at least
Yeah,
a
they was
couple of
deep
hundred
in that.
people there.
They was deep,
It
deep.
was packed in there, and some of them had on masks. I'm like, really? Do you think that's really gonna? So it's like, people not really taking it too seriously. There were news reports of a choir rehearsal where there were 60 people there last week, and 45 out of the 60 became infected because
For
one
real?
person, somebody had it, and that's all it takes. So
Where
those.
was that at, Dave?
This was somewhere in the south. I should have did more research, but I just
That's okay. That's good enough.
yeah, yeah. And I was talking to Patrice about being at the Safeway, this past actually yesterday, and just the mood of the people was so nonchalant about it, like from not really social distancing to actually getting into the store and taking their masks off, or like having them down around their chin. And I'm looking at these people like it's not just for standing in line. This is where it lives. Like people dying from grocery store, like they had cashiers to die, from this thing. So I say all that to say to everybody who's watching this and everybody who's gonna see this, man, take this thing serious. Social distance, wear your mask, keep your hands sanitized, keep your hands clean, keep your environment clean, and try to stay healthy, man. Definitely. Um,
I have a comment. Can I make a quick comment, Dave?
sure.
So,
Jay said no, you can't. I'm sorry. No.
so, so I've literally since the end of January, I've probably been to the store about 4 times.
Okay.
Because when it started in China, we kind of knew it was coming. Whatever it is, wherever it came from, whatever people believe. But when I go to the store and I don't order offline or Instacart,
Mm-hmm.
I sit outside the store for at least 20 minutes and I watch how people move. Right. So if I'm at a store and I see people being nonchalant, no mask, just kids running around, nobody, no supervision, then I don't go in and I'll just move on to the next spot. And I think that'll help some shoppers kind of relieve your anxiety because a lot of people are moving in a space where they do have actual anxiety and depression and all these things. So I just think it's good to do your due diligence before you walk into a store, sit in a parking lot and see how people move, and go super duper early when people are asleep.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I've been trying to do. I hit them 24 hours, but well, nothing's really 24 hours anymore. But I try to go either late or early. When it's not too
Mm.
many people there. So that's definitely, yeah. Like take this seriously, y'all. It's a serious situation. That was an interesting question, Joe Jay, because I was thinking that too about how do they really know, to be able to predict, that it's gonna be
Well,
another wave or
I
that it's
have a
gonna hit our
mind of a
community.
scientist, and so I also, without a prompt from, government agencies or anything like that, I try to do my own projections and um, evaluations, especially things that are affecting our community in particular.
Right.
So that's just a question that I raised to myself and meditation and prayer one night. Like how they're calculating when something's going to peak. And in war strategy, in previous times, the only way scientifically you can calculate or predict when something's going to peak is if you can timetable when you release something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, I don't know everything, but it was just a question that was raised because, it's so people are so emotional about this, that I don't really have a personal opinion about it. I
Right.
just do
Right. Right.
objective evaluations, in a objective manner, not my personal belief system, anything like that. So that was just a question that came up, like, wow, scientifically, how can you predict how many people they were saying, X amount of million of people are going to die from this.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
well, how do you know that? How could you calculate unless you have a timetable and a chart of intentional statistics?
Yeah. Yeah. And
But in addition to that is the fact that we're already being tracked. They're talking about tracing and tracking during the virus, but
Yeah,
we're already being tracked. So they just know by definition where you shop, how often you shop, how
yeah,
often you buy groceries, where you go, and so that's another way. Not to take away from what you're saying, but I'm
no.
adding to saying they're tracking us. So
yeah.
ain't no, people
And
with,
it's possible. I'm just saying it was just something that came up. I'm not saying it's not possible or it's a falsehood. I'm just saying, just technically the procedure had me curious. That's like, I wonder how they can project certain amount of numbers of people are going to, just like how, like with the prison system, they do numbers based off third grade test results. And
Right,
then they
right.
can project how many people are going to go to prison, how many people are going to have diabetes and high cholesterol based on the food in our communities and our
yep.
education, our health education, our mental health education. So it was just like, oh, okay, well, how are they tracking this particular war
Yeah.
strategy that they implement in our communities? That was the only question.
I understood,
Mm.
and that's an awesome segue into the next thing that I wanted to talk about. I don't know if you guys heard about this. CNN correspondent Van Jones did a opinion piece last week in which he essentially said that both the government and black people must take responsibility for the disparities in the health in the black community. After various reports have shown that COVID 19 disproportionately kills black people, diseases like hypertension, diabetes, asthma, and obesity make the virus far more deadly. And he talked about how black people tend to, work more challenging jobs that pay less and offer worse health insurance. And doctors have been shown to give shoddier service even when we do have health insurance. And he talked about how, additionally, we tend to live in neighborhoods where the stores sell less healthy foods. Like Jay was saying, like fast food joints and liquor stores provide way too many of our meals. And, he admonished the systemic racism that's on display. But it was when he started talking about that black people need to take more responsibility for our individual health choices. A lot of people kind of took offense to it. Jones said that scientifically,
And they need to man up
yeah,
and,
that's what I'm saying.
get
Well,
a
let me
vaccine.
finish. Yeah, so basically he was saying the science makes it clear that life choices around sleep, nutrition, and stress and more things directly affect our ability to strengthen our immune system. And at a time when the virus is doing disproportionate damage to our communities, we need to ask what can we do as individuals to get ourselves and our loved ones out of harm's way. Now, he made suggestions, things like drinking more water, being more active, moving our bodies, processing emotional pain through therapy rather than comforting with food and substance abuse, which is a huge one. And commit to spiritual and religious practices, meditation, and basically mainly try to get more rest. So he even called out the black media, saying uh, we can make requests for personal health as cool as we have made the quest for personal wealth. Imagine if rap groups and black TV shows started showcasing push ups and Peloton and healthy green drinks the same way they often showcase fashion and foreign cars. Now, some people didn't really like the statements that he made.
Truth hurts.
Yeah, exactly. So, this they say this person is a best-selling anti-racist author and professor. I don't know. Have you heard of him, Jay? Ibram X. Kendi.
I have not.
Okay. Well, he was on Twitter and he said that Jones is expressing both anti-racist and racist ideas. He said to claim that the choices that black people make are partially responsible for health disparities, for why black people as a group are more likely to have diseases that make COVID 19 deadly, is to say that black people as a group are making inferior choices than white people. It is saying that if black people only made better choices, as good a choices as white people, then black people would be as healthy as white people. That we can't blame coronavirus disparities all on racism. We must blame some on the inferior black health choices. And I mean, he was saying that that's an issue. That it shows racism. That's saying that black people don't eat as well as a group. He went on to say there are more black individuals who would be healthier if they change their lifestyles. Urging them to do so can be helpful to those individuals, but urging black people as a group to change their lifestyle as a solvent to health disparities between groups is not helpful. Um, there are many white individuals too who would be healthier if they changed their lifestyles too. Why isn't Jones lecturing them? among those black and white individuals making poor choices while black people dying at higher rates. And I like the article the way it was written just because it was balanced. This the person who wrote the article, Royce Dunmore for News One, and the article is on News One. You can read the full article, but he was real balanced. He didn't really put too much opinion in it, but basically showed these two opposing sides. I think that the anti-racist writer Ibram X Kendi, it seems to me like it's kind of reaching a little bit to say that we shouldn't take to tell black people they need to take responsibility for themselves as a form of racism. Like I don't get that. Like it sounds a little crazy to me. I don't know. Well, I
That
mean, what you
goes
guys?
towards that goes to accountability, and we talk about this all the time. We have to hold each other accountable. And I'd like to take it a step further, just from a health and fitness perspective. I don't like the fact that in the health and fitness community, or just in the wellness community, we separate disparities amongst black and white, because it really is about those demographics that may not have access to the same, foods, herbs, etc., that other communities do. And when you look at that, and of course we all know that there are more poor white people in the United States than there are black people. So
Definitely,
if
yeah.
we get down to the nitty gritty and focus on the disparities amongst poor, middle class, and wealthy communities, that's where you'll get the real numbers.
That's true. That's true. Definitely. Yeah. So to sum it all up, the author Kendi said, "I believe that Jones sincerely wants to help black people and I champion anyone who's striving to save black lives, to save American lives in general. Jones is not like those who racial. I'm sorry, Jones is not like those wholly racist Americans attacking him for not wholly pointing black behavior as needing to change. Jones thinks is racism and black behavior are the problem. I respectfully disagree. So he's kind of stretching because I don't think that Van Jones was saying that racism is the problem. He was just kind of showing the disparities between like the races and showing that some of these disparities can be tackled in a way on our part by changing some of our habits. So I don't know. I think that like we talked about last week, and I draw the parallel to that show Black AF, and how people got a lot of people got upset because some people didn't like it. Like I wasn't a big fan of it. It's cool, but it's not my cup of tea. But it's like sometimes people just need something to kind of argue about or be mad at. It's a show. It's like chill out. But in this case, I think that Van Jones was actually trying to, it's like a call to action, like do better, black people. And so for anyone to kind of take offense to that, I mean, I guess you're entitled to your opinion, but I mean, I disagree with that. So
That's my show right there. I love that
Right.
show.
you like Black AF?
I love it. Yeah, I like it a lot.
I gotta watch
And I
another
just feel like,
episode. Everybody keep telling me because I watched the pilot
yeah,
and it ain't really catch me. Yeah, but
it was good. Especially my favorite episode. I'm still thinking about it. The one with Tyler Perry on it. And
okay,
like, it was a lot of good gems. And I think he does the same thing that he does in all of his shows, which is try to show his comedic viewpoint of the world, but then he backs it up with like historical references to try to
Yes.
help people understand our history.
okay,
Yeah.
So
I love the show because of that.
I go for it.
Turn it down.
Yeah.
okay.
Also feel
Yeah,
like
so I've only watched the pilot episode, so I mean, and I know, and it might take a while because like I've always like when I
See?
first watched I'm trying to think of any show, I would always start off like that's stupid, and then I catch it streaming or something, and then watch the whole thing like this is the best show I've ever seen. How did I ever miss this? So I'll go back and check it out and try to digest it better, but it's just like some of the main, complaints that people had about it, like what's his name, Burris, seemed kind of whiny, as a dude, he seemed a little whiny to me, but I mean, it's a matter of
yeah, I
opinion,
mean he has his own personality.
right?
Like,
Yeah,
everybody's not gonna be the same way. But I think I like the fact that it shows like for me, I can't relate to the lavish lifestyle that he lives, but
right,
it's like, wow, okay, this is what would happen if like we make it this is what happened to people who make it, into the money world, and how they think and how they still carry their insecurities with them, and they're like still that presence of racism and white supremacy is still in their mind
Still prevalent.
90% of the time, no matter what, how much money they got. So I
Yeah.
just like that. I kind of try to take the message out of it, not so much as whatever he's whiny or she ain't black enough or whatever the things that people are saying. But
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Jay, have you seen it? Jay is parenting right
Nah,
now. Have you watched any of Black AF?
I
No,
haven't
you haven't.
watched any television.
You haven't watched any television at all.
I don't even. Yeah, I don't care about.
This is the second time you got on here and said you ain't watched no television, but I know you watched the rest of that Bulls documentary. It came on last night. You ain't watched none of that?
Well, I said last time I watched basketball,
But that's a documentary, though.
but it's still about a basketball team.
That's
It's
true. I'm just
basketball.
messing with you, man.
I gave my disclaimer, like, nah, I do watch basketball, but I don't
Right,
watch
right.
television programs because I don't even like. Yeah, I just don't trust anything that comes from Hollywood, man. But I'm sure there are some messages that people can carry with them that help them, and that's cool. But I was in Hollywood, and I don't trust anything that comes from Hollywood. Not even there's nobody that I admire in Hollywood at all. There's not one person. So
Oh,
unless people that I align with produce films and shows and music, I don't even align myself with anything that comes from Hollywood.
understood. So another thing that's been blowing up over the last couple of weeks since this whole real stay-at-home order and all this is these versus battles. And Jay, I know you saw the babyface Teddy Riley rematch.
Yeah, I love that joint.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Now I said, oh, Tamika, you turned your phone to the side. Yeah, no, that's cool. You can leave it like that. It's better like that. Turn it back to the side. It shows up better on the screen. Yeah, and now you guys look
Yeah, there we
equal.
go.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
there
That's
we
cool.
go.
But yeah, you said you like the battle.
Who, me?
Yeah, you, Jay.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, it ain't like they doing nothing. It's just like I could do that myself.
Yeah, yeah.
Somebody did the Prince Michael Jackson joint, and they lined up the 20 hits
I
side
don't
by
like
side.
that
Oh
joint.
Lord! So it's like it ain't even have to be Teddy and Babyface in person. It could have just been like me and you playing
the
hits
music,
for hits.
but it's not.
And I probably would have had the same, nostalgic love and feeling and reaction just because those songs are like ingrained in our lives. You can remember what's going on in your life when those
That's true.
songs like the Two Occasions joint. I was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. But I mean,
it's good for the culture.
I think it's a little different. Like with the Michael Jackson Prince joint, like I'm looking at the list,
You saw
like,
that list?
huh?
You saw that list?
Yeah, but
The
I'm
list
looking at the
of
list like,
songs?
man, Mike wouldn't have played that right there. Prince wouldn't have played it. If it's them, it's more like this is how
Yeah, it's true because they that's like their children, so they would have.
Right.
But still, it's still. Even just looking at that list, I was excited.
Yeah. So have you heard the next one they talking about Diddy and Dre?
Yeah, I heard about it.
Yeah. So that's like two more like huge hit makers.
Hey, Tamika, we can't
Yeah.
hear Tamika no. Oh, who you got in the Michael Jackson Prince joint?
Wait, what?
The Michael Jackson versus Prince.
Oh,
You
if they
seen
did
Have you
it?
seen the list?
No, I haven't
Oh,
seen
okay.
it.
You gotta see the list.
Yeah, they
So
put up
it's
a list of
basically
their
a list
songs.
of their.
Yeah.
Like all of their hits side
Oh,
by side.
no, I didn't see
20
it.
of their hits side by side.
Oh wow, no, I didn't see that.
Oh, it's deep.
And it's tough too. It's tough to call. Like,
And
you know,
I love Michael Jackson, but Prince songs are so soulful and like it's a soul. It's like you know what I'm saying? Because Mike obviously like if it was just like Michael Jackson or Prince, I'd be like, oh, Michael Jackson. But the actual list of songs that they put up, and like how particular songs made me feel and like the emotion of the songs, I was like, I might have to choose Prince in this particular musical battle.
Yeah, I always put them two like Prince, Michael Jackson, and Stevie Wonder are kind of in that same like the some of the greatest writers of our lifetime.
Hmm.
And I don't know like any of them. I don't. It would be a tie in my opinion. I can't like go either way with
But
any
even
of
with
them.
the RZA and Primo joint, right? They both got like equal hits. So I just had to go with like what I felt like because it wasn't like, oh, this is better than this.
Right,
Because
right,
it ain't really no winner. So I went with RZA only because like I could feel like the soul in them samples and in the tracks.
right.
And I could with Primo too. Like I said, it wasn't no winner or loser, but I just you just got to go with another like test. Like, okay, what do I feel in my soul more? Because it ain't like it's better or worse.
Can I just talk real quick about the dopeness of being a parent? Like, Tamika has a hand, like, just reaching up and
I know
poking
what
her
you
in the
thought. Yeah.
face. That's so funny. But yeah, so Tamika, if so let's say you and Duff was to go back and forth. Who do you think would win?
Oh my God, that's so unfair.
I know. That's why I did it. No, I'm just
That is so unfair. It would be just like Babyface and Teddy Riley. I can't call it. I just appreciate both of their like
so so you
stuff
saying
so much. Michael Jackson, Prince, I can't call it. I can't like it's like D'Angelo and Bilal. Like
right? Oh, okay,
I
yeah.
can't one is more
Ooh,
deeper.
that's
You know what I'm saying? I think that
Erica
would be
and
a good
Jill.
matchup too. One has more popular hits, but one is was like really deeper into their like just artist stuff. Duff has a great catalog, and so do I. So
Yeah.
y'all should be supporting those catalogs that we both have.
Yeah,
That's the
agreed.
answer. Yeah, that's the right answer to that question. Good job. That was the test, and you passed it with flying colors.
Good
Good
job,
job.
Tamika.
That's the SE3 training, right? That's the
That's right. That's right. We got A&R at SE3.
right, right.
Yeah.
So speaking of the battle, keeping it on music for a second, and I'm not going to talk about this too much, but I did see they've been talking about it on social media how French Montana did an interview on the Everyday Struggle podcast and talked about said he has more hits than Kendrick Lamar, and yeah, I heard that that's the
I
patented.
don't know one. I don't know one Montana song.
Right, you can even say his name for real, right?
Right.
I
Me
don't
either.
need. Yeah. Apparently, I didn't even know his correct
Is
name.
he saying getting A-Rap money?
I think he was on that song. I don't know if that was his song, but yeah, that's what it is.
One.
Like I don't know if he
I
has.
don't know one French Montana song.
Yeah, I don't know why he said what he said, but Complex went ahead and did a breakdown of each of the artists' performance, and French Montana's side was basically blank. He had like two songs that really charted, and Kendrick had like 20, so it was no competition whatsoever. So I just thought it was interesting. But sometimes, artists got to do stuff like that. He might got an album
I
coming out or
respect his
something.
confidence though, because if you are an artist and you put out music like them joints hits to you,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
True.
just saying the logic behind
yeah.
my position is like, yo, I can't name one of your songs, homie.
Right, right,
So, and I can name like five, at least five off the top of my head for Kendrick, like
right.
without even trying. So it's like that is the cultural difference. But in his mind, I respect his confidence. Like, yeah, especially in MCing, you're supposed to be confident. You're supposed to have like a level of bravado
Right,
with your
right.
with your craft and your art that you create. But I don't know one of his songs.
Yeah, I couldn't name one either when they said that, and I saw the list that Complex put up. I was like, oh, that's his song. Oh yeah, I never heard that one. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah. He probably hot in New York though.
right, yeah, yeah, and it's funny how culturally the areas are different. I remember when I was at Howard, they were doing a homecoming one year, and they had got a couple of people to come through, and one of the main headliners was Lil C's. That was with like used to be with Biggie and Lil C's, and so it's
Junior
like all the
Mafia.
people from New York, New Jersey, Philly was like, oh man, Lil C's coming, yeah, that's better Lil C's, and everybody from down south was like. Little C's, what pizza? The pizza dude? Like no, So it's just cultural differences. People don't really. So he might be. I'm sure he's blowing up in New York. He's doing something. He's got like money and chains and stuff. All the stuff
Yeah.
that the hip hop, well, no, the rap artist starter kit. Got
Mhm.
spinning rims and lots of women, things of that nature. But anyway, moving on. So I saw this last story. A Florida man has decided to dress up as the
Florida
Grim Reaper.
man.
Yeah, yeah. I thought about that reference to to Atlanta too. The Florida man. So it's interesting that a guy in Florida did this, and the way they started the story was a Florida man decided to dress up as the Grim Reaper and walk around the newly opened beaches to warn people about social distancing. And so they had pictures of him walking around like dressed completely as the Grim Reaper. Like the story was so interesting that Saturday Night Live picked it up, and Colin Jost on the Weekend Update segment, he reported that while he was walking around the beaches, he ran into the real Grim Reaper who was just making his rounds, catching people from the. And I thought that was funny. But anyway, moving on.
Dave.
They don't all work. Not all the jokes make it. But that wasn't even my joke. I just thought it was funny.
It's okay, Dave. I watched the SNL and I laughed at that joke too.
Thank you. I thought it was funny. I was just sharing it
But you
with our
didn't laugh
listeners.
at Dave
Well,
though.
I didn't. I was just sharing that somebody said it. I didn't.
It
Anyway.
wasn't that funny enough to laugh twice though.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, but I mean, somebody might have heard it for the first time at home and be laughing right now. They might be doing that. Anyway, but so I've done enough dying comedically now. Let's talk to Miss Tamika Love Jones. So great to have you here, man. I really appreciate you agreeing to be our guest today. Like I said, I'm a huge fan, and you're pretty dope. So, so I want to start with kind of a long question. I broke it up into parts, so stay with me, okay? So, I typically find that most artists, um, their progression follows a similar path, and it's broken up into three parts, right? So, the first part is discovering the art, and then once you discover the art and you kind of fall in love with it, then the second part of that progression is realizing that you have a talent for that art. And then the third part is actually making a decision to pursue that as either a career or something that you're going to take serious. So I want to start by asking, do you think that your progression into music followed that kind of steps? Like, how accurate am I in my assessment of that?
So break it down one more time. You said having an art,
Yeah,
just
or
break
discovering the art.
discovering.
Yeah, and then finding out that you're talented in that discipline or art. So basically,
Okay.
discovering music, then finding out that you're one of the best singers in the world, and then deciding, you know what, I'm gonna
Discovering
do
I
this
wanted to do that.
as a career.
Yeah. I think let me see. We're gonna move our location. Sorry, I'm busy. The kids are all in their classes.
Okay.
So I think that definitely I love music. I knew that I could sing, but I was really shy. So it took me a while to get out of my shyness
Hmm.
and be like, okay, this is really what I want to do. I
Right.
have support to be doing this, and so yeah, I think that's right.
Thank you. See, I'm
Way
smart.
more
No.
interesting.
But so the first part of it, discovering music or discovering the art. Do you remember the first song that really caught you and you was really like, oh, this is dope. Like I like music. That's a hard question too, because it's like,
Um, I could think about a couple of songs that my mom used to play,
hmm
like Heat Wave, Always and Forever.
hmm
Um, what else? You Bring Me Joy, Anita Baker, like anything from
wow.
that Rapture album
Hmm
Man,
and Heat Wave, Always and Forever. Those are the two sounds that I remember being like, wow, this is some good music. This is amazing. Yeah, so I would say those.
Okay, and from that, did you used to sing those when you were little? Like,
Um, yeah, I mean, I always sang whatever, but I still was really, really little at that time.
okay,
I will have to fast forward it to a later time when maybe I started like listening to the lyrics, learning every lyric and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be like probably when SWV was out,
Okay.
and me and my sister would, listen to the songs, and how your parents get drunk and be like, "Come sing the song for my friends."
Right.
Um, so I remember Miss Lori and my mom. She was our like next door neighbor. We were living in North Carolina at the time,
Mm.
and she was like, "Come sing that song y'all be singing, Weak. Sing it for Miss Lori." So we sing it. I mean, this was like one of those get you out the bed at night.
Oh wow.
And we sang it, and then she tried to tell us how to sing the song, and she was all wrong with the lyrics. And
Oh.
do y'all know the song I'm talking about, "Weak" by
Yeah.
SWV?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So
Jay was singing a little bit.
I was seeing if that. I was just singing it out loud to see if that was the song.
Yeah, that's
Did
it.
somebody else got? That's it. Okay.
Oh,
Babe,
I think yeah. I think you froze for a
hey.
second there. You back now? Can you hear
Okay,
us?
I had to go. Yeah, so I was trying to tell a funny story about the song "Weak."
Yes.
So we sang a week. I get so weak in the knees, and then she tries to like give us, no, it goes like this. This is how you really perform and sing a song. And she just botches the lyrics so bad. And then like till this day, me and my sisters always talk about that moment when
Oh
she tried
wow.
to botch our performance with the wrong words. It's your favorite song, and then an old person try to sing it and they mess it up. So it was like that.
Right. Right. So so with like so you're one of the most soulful singers. Like the amount of emotion. That's what the first time I saw you perform, um, that emotion that you put into singing was so infectious and just like on a certain level spiritual. It was like a connection with the song that you have. Like I want to. I know it's an unfair question. I want to ask like, how do you do that? But it's more like I don't even know. Like I just, it's so awesome to see like that kind of a connection with the music, that kind of a draw. Like, is that like learned? Did it take you time, or is it something that comes natural to you?
It's something that I developed over the years,
Okay.
because I definitely thought singing was just singing. I was singing just because I knew how to do runs and hear my pretty voice.
Right.
And when I started listening to like deeper artists like Nina Simone and like Sade, who didn't necessarily have a decorated voice, they just
Mm-hmm.
had like a hell of a lot of soul that just made you just stop where you in your tracks and
Mm-hmm.
just get into that song. I started to want that. And I was like, that's what I want. Now I understand. Now I get it.
Yeah.
And so I just from that moment I just try to increase um my spirituality, really make sure that it's singing the type of music that I like, that I love. And then I kind of got that joy and love for music that, I'm a pretty quiet. I can be so I kind of save up my energy for when I really have something to say, and that comes to like my art too. Like I could just be so quiet, on social media or wherever,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just waiting for that moment to like really like share what's in my heart and soul. And it's on that stage where I could really, really feel. And so that power that you see is like pent up aggression. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like imagine you haven't, whatever for a long time, and then you finally just like you're like, ah!
Right.
So that's kind of the power that you see a lot of times.
Right. That element is very prevalent when you like you're one of the best, if not the best, freestyle singers that I've ever seen. Like off the top, just coming up with songs in the moment. You did it on at the Native Tongue, the live when you came over to Jay's house, and I've seen you do that a few times. And like for rapping, like I've rapped, and I know Jay raps, and that's it's already it's difficult
He
enough, but to
raps.
be able, you said what?
Patrice raps.
And Patrice spit them hot bars. Nah, she lift bars. She's a trainer. But anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Who said?
Good one, Dave. Good one, Dave. That was a good one.
Right. But yeah, see y'all do me my question, man. Let me focus. But
I got a question though, Dave. I got a question for Tamika. When did you add love to Tamika Jones?
Oh, that was okay. So I don't have a middle name,
okay.
and here, take her over there. Y'all can play and have fun. So I don't have a middle name, and then I was going by Tamika Jones throughout my musical career, which started when I was like 16 or 17. And then when I moved back to DC and I started working with Mr. Briggs, it just came in that. It came within that like time.
Right.
So when I first started to when I really started getting that confidence, that swag, and it was just like, nah, I need some more swag. Let me add my moniker, and that's when the love came about 2010, 2011 or something like that. Because it wasn't even, was it Tamika Love Jones on my first video, Dumb Love? It may have just as I was finally coming out with my first album.
Okay. And so the love is something like what
but
made
I do want to address.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh well, I'm just that's just who I am. Like I really think if any nickname, that's really me. How I treat my friends and me, how I love my babies. Just I've never been in a fight before. I've always been a super peaceful person. I'm always just about love and resolution, and so I really just that's the first thing that came to me in terms of who and what I represent.
Okay.
And I've always been like a hopeless romantic also, so it just always had that kind of bless you. But I do want to talk about what you were saying about the freestyling. Also, I want to shout out. Well, first of all, I had always been into writing and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I really started going hard on the freestyling stuff when I started doing stuff with Muzai House. So shout out to Scooby Smack and Dior Ashley Brown and because we would constantly be just there shedding on ideas and just jumping in. And so I really started trying to do the freestyling thing, and it came. If it was already right here, it went up to there. Once I really started doing that, and I always love hip hop, R&B. Biggie was my soundtrack of life. He's one of my biggest musical influences. As probably the singers that I love. Ready to Die was all that I knew, and I could. If it comes on, I would just be rapping all the lyrics and be like, what? That rapping part of me has just been in me. So
that's dope. That's dope. So you mentioned Biggie and Ready to Die. We always ask people your hip hop Mount Rushmore, your top 4, or you can do 5 because people usually do 5. But who is the top artist
Stay
that
with the culture, Dave. Stay with the culture. Top 5.
Top 5, all right, top 5. Because Mount Rushmore is more of the white thing, so yeah, stay with the culture.
Hip hop or hip hop and R&B, all my people.
Hip hop.
Well, we just gonna do hip hop because I'm gonna do R&B separately, okay?
MCs.
Oh wow. Okay, I definitely love. Okay, I'm gonna say Biggie. I'm gonna be a little bit. I want to say Tupac next. But I think Tupac definitely goes in the top. It's really hard. I had a really
we don't care about how hard it is. We need 5 people.
He's just amazing. Okay, I'm gonna just say that. Okay, Biggie, Tupac, Jay-Z, Nas, and Dead Prez.
Wow, Dead Prez. Yeah.
Hey, did y'all hear Wiz Khalifa's top 5?
You said what?
Did y'all hear Wiz Khalifa's top 5?
Who was it? Nah, what did he say?
I think he was I can't remember.
No, you don't even know it. Come on,
but
Jay.
no, but now the significant ones that I do remember, he had Bone Thugs and Harmony as a group.
Oh,
he had 3 6 Mafia as a group. And And then you know what I'm saying? I've never heard them in anybody's top five ever. So that's why I thought it was significant.
Interesting.
He got it's on Nick Cannon. Nick Cannon, I think, does a radio show on 106 in
Yeah.
L.A.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so if you after this you could Google it, but the reason his particular is because he mentioned people that I never heard people put in their top five ever before, and he's such a significant, recognizable artist.
Right.
So it was just cool to hear how he was influenced by not everybody's top five, and still has utilized that to become successful in his own. Oh, Snoop was one, obviously.
Obviously, yeah, because they look just alike.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, so I thought that was interesting.
Right. So Tamika, now on to the singers. Like, so I'm gonna start with like, who would you say musically, like, singing is your greatest inspiration, or who do you look up to vocally?
Yeah, it's so hard because I have so many great singers that I love and look up to.
Well, give us 37. No,
I'm,
I'm just playing. Give
I'm gonna
us.
say Whitney,
Who?
Whitney
Oh
Houston,
yeah.
Mhm.
Karen Clark Sheard,
Wow.
Faith Evans,
Mm.
Jill Scott, Lauryn Hill. But like I didn't even get to Stevie or like D'Angelo.
Right,
like
right.
so
You can
those
do
are like probably
you can do male, female
oh
to help
okay
him out.
cool.
That'll give
Those
you 10.
five. But
Yeah.
I didn't even say Ella. Ella
Wow.
Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
Top
So
five, you gotta cut people off.
it was my early influences and then my later influences.
Right. Right.
So it's just I
Okay.
can't.
It's tough.
Ella, Nina Simone, like I said, Sade. Those were like the soul singers that I drew from the soul part of it. And then the male singers, I said Luther, I said D'Angelo, Stevie, Bill Withers, and let me see. I
It's tough, right?
mean, I like R&B was R&B 90s. Tevin and Boyz II Men were huge in
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
book too.
Yeah. So it's so hard when you love music like that. I'm like that too. It's like hard. It's like something you hear in that moment and put you like I've heard Tamika Love Jones stuff and I'll be like she the best singer in the world ever. So it's like it changes when you hear different things. But so
Yeah.
like right now, who are you listening to right now? Is there anybody that stands out to you that's out now?
Right now, I think I'm a big Anderson .Paak fan.
He's dope.
And
Yeah.
Yeah, you dope.
yeah, he's dope. It's a lot of people that are new out that I don't really know that well, but I kind of hear some of their stuff and I like them, but I'm
Mhm.
so into my thing and my family thing right now. It's like I don't have the same fandom as I did before when it
Right.
came to like artists and stuff.
Hold up,
Um,
baby. Hold up.
Okay.
Yeah, but I like her. I like Snow Allegra. I like Coffee. Those are like some of the people I might play around the house now just to be like, oh, let me listen to somebody new. I like King. I heard they're not together. I don't know.
Yeah,
those
King
are
is
some
like
of
a
the new
female
people.
group, right?
Yeah, it's three sisters.
That's-
So
yeah.
yeah, I really like their vibes when I want to hear something. Yeah, and then I love my DMV artists, like my Muna Youssef,
Mhm.
like that's my little big sister.
Right.
And all the Imani Grace, she's one of my favorites. Allison Carney.
Mm,
We have some really great singers in DC.
definitely. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's a dope list, man. What was you about to say, Jay? You was about to ask a question?
I want to know Patrice's top five MCs.
We asked her before.
Uh,
Didn't she say she didn't have top five?
I never said
I
that.
don't remember that. Run them off. Let's go.
Um, Biggie, Jay-Z, I like RZA, I like EPMD. And my best one like right now is 5'9". What is
Oh,
it?
Royce, his album is crazy.
Everybody
it's
talking.
His album is crazy.
I still haven't listened to it.
That joint crazy.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. I
I'm gonna
like
have to check it out.
Skit. I think it's Skit is my favorite one.
Mhm.
Okay. So,
Sorry, Dave.
You happy, Jay? You got what you
Yes,
were looking for?
thank you.
Okay, so can I continue with the interview now? Is
Yeah,
that okay?
please,
I
please do.
appreciate you giving me permission to.
Thank you, Jay.
But so, Tamika, I know you write also, and your pen game is crazy. Like, are you still currently are you working on anything?
Yeah, I'm working on um releasing an album. I did a lot of songs in 2016, 2017 that I had finished. But now I'm going through the just editing process because I'm like going through a lot of just like, oh, let me update this. But I'm
Mm,
also just writing, I feel something coming on in terms of my next batch of songs that I'll be writing for whatever new project. So I wrote like a couple of songs. When I did a feature for when I actually featured for Jason's the New Being Human joint.
mm.
I wrote something new then. So I'm still writing, but I think I'm just trying to release the stuff that I already have done.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and isn't it dope to have that freedom to be able to be like, when I feel like it's time for when the world needs some more of me, I can put it out there. And when you have the right, collection, as opposed to being like, kind of mandated, like you got to put this out at this time and all that. That freedom, I think it adds to the creativity, right? Like,
Oh, Dave,
uh
we got a viewer that has their top five.
oh. Okay, well, let her answer the question. Hold on.
Oh.
It was a question. So,
I mean, we're talking about writing, right?
Yeah, writing and releasing, music.
It's just I don't have the luxury with all these kids and everything my whole life. I just got to do what I can, literally.
Right, right,
So I wish I could put out a project every year. Maybe I'll get back to that when my kids get a little bit bigger.
right.
But it's just is what it is. But I want to hear about that other person's top 10 too, or
Yeah,
top
oh, it's
five.
actually it's Chuck.
Oh yeah.
Chuck. Chuck's top five. Tupac, Biggie, Nipsey Hussle. Oh, Jason.
hey.
Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, we
Hey,
forgot you, Jay.
Hey. Thank you, Chuck.
That was four, wasn't it?
that's right.
Nah,
SC3.
you didn't hear Kendrick?
Oh, okay. Nah, I ain't hear Kendrick. Okay.
Yeah, Kendrick
All right.
Lamar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of SC3, you connected with that community. Like, how did that come about? How did the connection with Jason and the SC3 family come about for you?
Um, let's see. Let's take it back to when I met Jason. I feel like I don't know. I always attribute it to John and Jason. It's not one without the other.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we
Because
started
it was through
doing
theater. It was
like
in theater.
yes, it was through theater, and
Ironically,
I
it
knew
wasn't even
John.
music. It was theater. Yeah.
It was, and I knew John through City at Peace, which
Mm.
was my music theater program in high school that I was doing. And then he was doing a play, and he said he wanted a singer for it. And Jason was in the play, and so we did that. And that's how it was like a camaraderie. It was like,
And once I
right.
heard her voice, I was like, well.
It's undeniable, right? Like,
I was like, well,
Yeah.
there we have it. Got a new member.
Yeah,
right.
and Jason will claim it. He will be like, "Look, you with us," and I like that because I always want that family, that
Yeah.
support system, and I could really feel that it was a good match for me. Just everybody on in the tribe was just where I was at mentally and spiritually, so it was history after that.
Yeah. So, and speaking of that space that you were in mentally and spiritually, I was reading your bio on your webpage, and one of the things I really like doing these interviews, especially for somebody who I admire musically as much as you, because you get to learn stuff about people, like looking at your journey and how you had the opportunity to work with like Chucky Thompson. And it says in your bio that in that time you kind of started to there was a shift in your vision and your purpose more towards social justice and things of that nature. And so, do you remember in that time like what kind of caused that shift? Like what made you say, you know what, I need to use this this gift that I have to speak more about social issues and things like that? Was it a specific thing, or did it just happen gradually?
It happened gradually, but I think I was like right there in the middle of it, and I've had so much inspiration, but at the same time, I wasn't getting the results. I wasn't, popping like, I thought I was going to or whatever. And I started feeling further and further away from like the superstar that I knew that I could be.
Mm-hmm.
It was like my anxiety and all that stuff was taking over more so than me deflowering more. And it was just like, I even remember a time when I lost my voice. Like I
Mm.
couldn't sing as well anymore. That how I used to know that I could sing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was going through a lot. So um, it was I finally remember, like I said, the spiritual component, just shutting down, like not listening to popular R&B. Sorry, y'all.
No, no, it's cool.
Not
That's real.
no, you can't have it.
That's that parenting
Say
aspect.
hi, everybody.
Oh, hi.
Hey.
Well, like I was saying, like not listening to R&B or hip hop or whatever I'm supposed to do, and actually doing stuff that made my soul feel good. So
Right.
that was actually the shift.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. When you start
But
following and
yeah,
listening to your soul, and that's a element of freedom that that only following your soul's true path can bring about. And I think we all kind of have been through that and understand that. I always like Patrice's story about finding fitness and kind of realizing that that's what she wanted to do and leaving the job and all that. And I know Jay's path with the music and working, but working so diligently toward building this empire of music that he's built over the time. And so it's awesome that he that you guys kind of found each other, in that, and were able to make such dope music. Like, I'm such a huge fan, and it's good to hear that you got, that you're working on new stuff. Because I'm like, man, it's we need to hear some more.
yeah,
Yeah.
I really want to do so much more. But it's just I'm on a journey,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I'm letting God take the wheel, and I'm trying to develop myself in all the ways possible because I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what makes me be the best artist that I can be. Like I have an idea for what I want to do or what this and that, but my life, and I have to just sit down and listen to what God is telling me.
Yeah.
Um, be around the right people, have the right, just everything has to feel organic.
Mm-hmm.
In order for me to come out the way that I want to, because my anxiety will shut it down real quick
Yeah.
if it's
Yeah.
not in the right place that it's supposed to be. Like I seriously will shut down, and that's what happened. My voice shut down. My um, yeah, I was going to open mics, and I was bombing so bad because I was so full of this anxiety and fear,
Mm-hmm.
and it took me going back to my roots and reading, like I said, reading about my history, learning about my consciousness, reading, you know, what did I read? I was talking about Carter G. Woodson, Miseducation of the Negro. Like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
after I realized that that just helped me to love myself and not be ashamed of the predicament that my family, my community, the African people are in, because I didn't even know that we were miseducated in the first place.
Right. Right.
So you're talking about somebody that's dealing with white supremacy, racism, low self-esteem, all of these issues, and I'm supposed to be this artist singing about this and that, like trying to make the radio happy.
Yeah.
Like I'm just not wired to be that way. I have to like really sing about what my evolution, and I have to let my evolution happen to be able to be that artist that you see and
Right.
love.
Right, right, and this is definitely adding to the content and making it more full and more powerful and more and making it resonate more with people. So definitely, the process is so important, and the organic nature of it. Like I love that you said it has to be organic. Like I remember hearing like Michael Jackson one time was talking about his creation process and how everything has to be organic. He said art has to flow. You can't like break that flow, and you can't start to think too much about it, because when you think, now you're forcing it, and that's not art. It has to flow. And so that organic nature is so necessary, and it shows, like your mastery of that shows in the art that you produce. And so I want to ask you, like, there are, you talked about the anxiety aspect of it, and I've dealt with that myself, and so I definitely understand where you're coming from. I can remember being, when I was at Howard, I failed like my piano class. Like, I played piano to a certain extent, but I would never do the live performances. Because I would learn the stuff, I would sit all night learning it, but getting up there is something completely different. And so just battling that that demon is difficult, but it's something that you can definitely conquer, like you said, with understanding and things of that nature. So it's awesome that you got it to a level where you can perform and feel comfortable with yourself to share your gift. So what I want to ask you, the question from all of that is, there are definitely women and girls and young girls out there who have that gift but are in that same predicament and have those same feelings of anxiety or fear or not sure what to do. Just being where you are now and who you are now, what kind of advice would you give young ladies in that position who are having those feelings?
Um, I definitely think like they should take a moment and listen to their soul. I'm gonna go outside.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, so I think they should take a moment to like listen to what their soul is telling them, like what they really want,
Hmm.
like who they really are. Um, because that's the only way we want to feel and see the real you. Like Lauren Hill said, the real you is more important and precious and valuable than you trying to be somebody else. So
Right.
I think that first we want to like make that big hit or be popular, but it just starts with you really honing in your craft, practicing, and also figuring out what it is that you have to say.
Right. Right.
And once you figure out what you have to say, and it's something that's you know valid from your inside your soul, it's going to be dope.
Yeah.
So trust yourself, trust your dopeness, and if you don't trust your dopeness, do some journaling, take some therapy, get into your spiritual studies, so you open yourself up into
Oh, I think we're losing you a little bit there. Your signal is
Teresa
kind of
sit
weak.
in my car.
Oh, okay.
um
Sound you got, sound you got to escape from
so
it.
I know.
Yeah.
So was that a good advice? Was that
Yeah,
good?
yeah. To
Did
follow
y'all
your
hear
own,
me?
follow your spirit and your own journey, and yeah, yeah. It was very dope and very informative, and I think it would help anyone who's trying to make that journey. And so I want to ask you about young Tamika Jones before the love was there. Well, the love was always, but I mean before the name love was there. But so if you had an opportunity to talk to young Tamika Jones, like if you could get in a time machine and travel back to say when you were, 13, and you knowing everything you know, being through everything you've been through at this point in your life, had an opportunity to talk to that young lady, what would that conversation be like? Like, what type of things would you say to her?
Um, Man, I would just tell her like to be fearless. I kind of want to go back to that. I want to keep pressing upon that point that I was your previous question,
Mm-hmm.
because it would be just like I'm talking to whoever else out there. I'm talking to myself, and I'm saying like, be fearless, be yourself. Um, so what? Your friends aren't don't want to do it with you. Um, so what? You're scared. Like this is life or death, and either this is your art, this is your craft, this is your gift, Like hold it precious, take care of yourself, um, and just know like that God got you. Like no matter what your circumstances might be, that doesn't matter. That's only God's way of making you stronger. So just hold on and just ride that wave of confidence. Like
Mm-hmm.
you are I'm telling myself this, like
Mm-hmm.
God made you. You're amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're amazing. You're perfect and you're coming into your own, so just be confident in that. Um so yeah, cuz I lacked a lot of confidence. I was really really shy and I just wish somebody would have been like,
Yeah.
telling myself in the mirror every day like, no, like be on that stage, own it, head up, like take those pictures, shoot that video, like do whatever you got to do. Go talk to those people that are kind of scary because
Right.
they might have something to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a lot of fear, but press through it.
Yeah, yeah. And how
I like
awesome is
that.
it that you? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Patrice.
I just want to say that you are beautiful, and I feel your energy even through the screen, and I love. Um, I wasn't on the live that Jay did, but your ability to tune in to your spiritual self, to bring your best presence to the stage and the audience you serve. I just think that's an awesome thing. And the way that you talk about your art, I'm just inspired. So keep doing what you're doing.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Yeah, yeah. That's dope. And I was just gonna say like all of the stuff like talking about the anxiety and the fear. How dope is it to have gone through all of that and gained all the wisdom about it, and now have this tribe to share that wisdom with, right? Like you can kind of impart, like you said, you wish that there was someone there to say that to you, and now you can be that for your tribe, for the people who you created. You can be that voice to say, it's scary, but do it, right? Like that's got to be a
Yeah,
good feeling.
yeah, it is. It is, but even better to know that I have a tribe like
Mm-hmm.
that is going to push me to be, this is what I like about Jason and SE3. Like, some people you get around them and I don't know, they just don't push those buttons for you that make you want to be that superhero that you know you are.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but every time you talk to Jason, you get this idea, you have this like motivation of, we're superpower, we're healers.
Mm-hmm.
This is a conversation that we have on the regular, John, Jason, and I, and many of us, and how we heal each other. So like we're so important, and sometimes we get down on our luck, and it's just like we don't feel the vibe, but like it takes us to kind of come together and like we reinvigorate each other with our passions and we fuel each other with our superhero strength again, and it was just like boom, like we know what our purpose is again. So that's
That's
kind of like
dope.
what we do, what they do for me, what I do for them. We always,
Yep.
so it's really great to find that.
And with y'all doing it for each other, then when you guys get together and perform, you definitely do it for the world, for the people who view it. Like I remember, like Jay and I have been neighbors my whole life, and found out that he was into music, around the same time that I was getting into it, and then coming to see him perform, and then coming to see all of you perform. It feels like that. It feels so much like I remember seeing you guys and having that feeling like these are superheroes. These people have these superpowers that they're conveying to the world. It's so awesome to watch. Like the X Men that that Jay put together, that he between you and Duff and just the whole squad and everybody, John and like the whole crew. It's amazing to see you guys come together and do like the performances as a group. Like when y'all were doing the B spot and Vivi and like that whole you know crew was rocking, and it was just amazing experiences. So I appreciate you guys for sharing your art with the world and making the world a better place to a certain extent because of your art, because of the things that you bring to the table. It's a beautiful thing, and so
And
yeah, I
we
just
raise babies. We doing more than just like music. We're actually like raising our babies
Mhm.
Yeah,
We're raising a community together, so it's just like goes way more than it's actually a family.
yeah,
Yeah,
Um,
because we all are educators. We all work with youth in
yeah,
our community. We all kind of raising all of our children in a similar ideology, so that they gonna know that they are a part of a bigger tribe. And so yes, the art is just what connected us.
right,
yeah,
There's
right,
so many other things that are branching off from that.
yeah. We
right,
do
and
playback theater together. We do
Mhm.
artists, teaching stuff together. We get tired of our kids being in the house, whatever. We get together, go to the park, watch them play. We get pregnant at the same time. Like it's just,
Yep, yep.
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Jay, when was you pregnant, man? I didn't know. You didn't tell me, man. I
Man, let
didn't
me
even
tell
know.
you. Let me tell you about the experience. Nah.
That's dope though, just to have that community and support system. Like you said, everybody kind of needs that, and to a certain extent, we long for that sense of community and family that comes with like people who you become close to. Like they say, the friends or the family you choose. It's the people you get because you don't pick who you're born into and things like that, but the people who you bring around you and have around you. If you're lucky, you get people like a Jay that's going to constantly uplift you and motivate. Like he's one of the best motivators. You know what I'm saying that that I've ever met.
I'm like, shut up and do it, Dave.
Right, right. One of those people like pull the trigger, nigga. Stop talking about it and get it done. So and that's it's beneficial to somebody like me who's a thinker. I think and plan stuff out a million times, and then I'd be like, dang, I wish I did all that stuff I planned about. But Jay be like, man, just do it. So that's always helpful. To
Yeah.
have that and that inspiration. I see that light and how it shines into other people like you, Tamika. How, and giving you like that push you need to really shine, like you said, to be a superhero. And that's so dope that that you guys kind of cultivate that in each other and sharpen the steel. Basically, as they say. So yeah, man. Shout out to the SE3 family. So right now you have on the SE3 Bandcamp, you have the two projects I saw on there, the Black Holiday, and then the other one is what's the name of the other one where you're in the green with the stance with the pose? Was it
Addicted to love, Jones.
Addicted to Love
addicted to
Jones.
the yeah yeah? I knew it because I did the pose that you was doing. It was dope. But yeah, and so people can
Shout
pick.
out to LeVan Anderson for that wonderful picture that he took.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna ask you because you saw I usually just go to people's page and snatch a picture for our flyer, and you had so many good like whoever your photographer is. That your photographer that you just
Well,
mentioned?
he's one of the photographers.
Oh, okay.
John Ledbetter is also another photographer that I've used. I had a really nice photo shoot with Anthony Tillman. I don't want to leave anybody out, but like John and Levan, I've worked with on several occasions, and they've always just been such a gracious experience.
Yeah, yeah.
And Gina Von Treese, she did the two videos, the Meek Show and Revolution.
Nice,
So
nice.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to your photography, videography team because all of the pictures are dope. I love the constant theme of most of your pictures. You have a mic in your hand, you're singing, and that's such a it represents you so well. That theme and that motif going through a lot of the pictures. So just showing you in that moment, catching that passion being exuded out into the world. So that's really dope. I really liked it, and it was easy to find good pictures. Some people you try to find them, I had like 20 or 30 to pick from, but so
Yeah, fun fact, I was about 5 months pregnant in the picture that you chose.
really,
Um, That was I was in New York City for the I forget the name of the show, but I was in New York for a show, and I was about 5 months pregnant with Akeem, my first son,
mm,
in that
dope,
picture.
dope. So I did want to ask you before we go. Having children, how did that change? Did it change in any way the way you approach writing or singing? Did it have any effect on your craft?
Probably just that I can't do it as much because I'm like
Oh,
literally taking care of them.
right, right.
But I think it just makes it. I just have so much more to live for. I have so much. I could be so much better because of them.
Mm.
If you think you were so great of a person, like wait till you have kids. You're
Mm-hmm.
like, wow, I wasn't nothing until I had these kids. And so obviously that writing and that, whatever you do is just going to be so much more amazing because children bring blessings. So that's just my personal experience with
Right.
it.
Dope, dope. And
But I'm
and I.
really hands-on I'm really, really hands-on. So
Mm-hmm.
I just have to accept that. And, I really hope that fans will just ride with me and, be willing to be on that ride with me.
Yeah,
I
man,
praise
definitely.
me.
Mm. Well, I can't speak to the other fans, but I know I'm with you. I'm waiting for the next. I'm like, I'm ready for the next Tamika Love Jones album. As soon as it come out, I'm gonna pre-order it the week before it come out, and then I'm gonna get two copies, one for the house and one for the car, because that's how. That's how. Yeah, but I'm a big fan. Is basically what I'm saying. So.
Thank you, Dave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, but do you guys, Jay and Patrice, because I'm the only one that doesn't have kids on this live. Do you
Yeah.
guys feel that same, sentiment with the children and how it forces you to be a better person and kind of, boost your superpoweredness? Patrice,
What
I'll
you
let you
got,
go.
Patrice?
Yeah, ladies first.
Okay. Um. So my son has been riding with me since I started, entrepreneurship about 11 years ago, and he was 2.5 or so,
Mm.
or three, and um, I went through some tough times. You can imagine being, 11 years is, I've been roller coaster like this.
Yeah.
So this time that we in right now, this pandemic, I'm just like, this is a regular Tuesday for me because I'm used to this. And my son, Tamika, you can speak to this. Your children ride with you. They and because you know that they're gonna ride with you, and you have that authentic, that organic love and support, because they have these random wise moments, and no matter what's going on, no matter what the trajectory is of your passion or your purpose, they speak into it. Whether they realize it or not, they speak into it. So I think children add that zest and that zeal for life, but also they for your purpose and what you do. So that's how my son is at it. He's been to boot camps with me. He trains with me.
Mm.
When I was, I had one leg, I was on crutches. I crutched the 5K. He was right there with me in the 5K, encouraging me to keep going. And he always does that. He's 14 now and 6 feet tall. He don't talk to me much, but but during my journey, he definitely, he's spoken to my purpose and my passion for fitness.
Cool, cool. And Jay?
Yeah, man. Absolutely. My children have been the 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 driving, motivating force for me to do well. Like even now, within since the quarantine, I just been inspired. And right before the quarantine, because for about 10 years I haven't really been a music artist because I've been, I met Tamika and Duff and John and I had ML and Young and King Cal and Taylor. So I just been really focused on curating shows and aligning with artists that I feel have purpose. So so this past year, I've been put in a position of being an artist again. So even now, and like doing rehearsals when I'm going over my songs, like with my kids here, they're so into me. It's like usually like when you rehearsing, you just like going over, but when they hear I'm actually trying to do well because like they hanging on to every word that come out my mouth.
Mm.
And so like I'm working on my breath control and my diction and it's not the anxiety like a crowd, but it's the same preciseness and that attention to detail. Like, oh, nah, I should emphasize this word more. Oh, they can hear this word clearer when I say it this way. You know what I'm saying? So it's conscious and it's subconscious. So it's like the conscious is like, yeah, you want to strive to be your best as an artist because you have children and you have a legacy. And when I go, all of my music and all my art is going to be here with them, and they're going to dissect it with their own ear without me. And so now, at this stage, and like being blessed to be asked to perform on stages again as a performing artist at this point in my life, it's like now, like with them, it is definitely encouraging and making me step my game up because, like, when I rehearse around them, it's like it's me performing in front of a crowd that's pretty much more important than a real audience.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's making me tighter, and so they sharpening my sword just by being on point themselves.
Cool.
You're welcome. They said thank you.
That's dope. Definitely. So yeah, man, I'm not gonna we hitting the 12:20 mark, so I'm not gonna keep you guys too much longer. Thank you so much, Tamika, for being our guest today. It's so interesting getting to know more about you, and I'm waiting patiently to hear that next Tamika Love Jones. But I mean, I'm sure you'll be doing performances and stuff like when everything opens back up. So yeah, I'll come out and get my dose of of that soulfulness. So thank you so much for joining us and hanging out with us today. It's really been a blessing to have you here and talk to you. On behalf of myself, Jason, Patrice, and you. Thank you so much for everyone for watching us, checking us out today. We'll be back each and every Monday. We're doing it like this as long as we have to, and hopefully pretty soon we'll be back in Nubian Human doing it how we want to. So
I heard DC it's the stay-at-home orders to what, May 15th.
Yeah, but they talking about
I think they're gonna
possibly
open up the building, so we should, even if it's not like back to normal, because I'm gonna let everybody else go out first and do what they do, but we should at least be able to get back in the store though, you know what I'm saying, and go back live from the location.
Cool. All right, well that's
Because it
good
is
news.
just
Yeah, well, definitely good news. So again, thank you guys so much. We love each and every one of y'all. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay in the house if you can, but keep the hand sanitizer. Keep yourselves and your areas disinfected and clean, and yeah, keep on living. Like Jay Single say, don't die. All right, y'all. This has been a Neighborish live cast. Thank you guys again for checking us out, and peace.
Peace.
Hi.